Michigan Vehicle Code, section 257.642 explains the way in which drivers should change lanes. Subsection 1A states clearly that if a vehicle were to change lanes, it must move in a manner which is practically safe. The driver or the operator of the vehicle must be able to ascertain if the situation is safe enough to change said lane. On July 20th, 2021, Andrew Parker, while under the scope of employment of Americraft Industries, violated that statute. And subsection 5 of that statute says, if a person does this, they're responsible for violating a civil infraction. My friend, Jackie Fulbright, was driving this, a 560-pound Honda Shadow Aero. He was behind a semi-truck on the northernmost lane. He was going east on 5th Street. There were 3 lanes: the northernmost lane, the central lane, and the southernmost lane. Jackie was behind the semi-truck on the northernmost lane. He's going behind it, taking his time, because the semi-truck behind him is going real slow. It's going 20 miles per hour on a 25 mile per hour lane. Jackie, knowing he has a future, not wanting to mess it up on this bike, does the right thing. He follows the statute. He looks at his rear view mirror. He looks around him. He goes around the semi-truck. Kid sees him, and Willie Brown's gonna be important to this story. And Jackie drives, and he goes down 70 yards. To put into context, Your Honor, a football field, which is important to this story, is 100 yards. As he drives, no reason to fear, no reason to worry. A car on the southernmost lane, Mr. Parker, goes directly into the central lane. Jackie, not having a chance, butts into him, flies 20 feet in the air, his helmet going even farther, and my friend Jackie's head slams right into the cement, busts down, he's out for 30 minutes straight. Now the question that we should all ask ourselves is, what happened? Why did my friend Jackie get into that crash? Well, I have your answer, Your Honor. Because the defense counsel, their client, Andrew Parker, was driving a 3,947-pound 2020 Cadillac sedan, and he was on the southernmost lane. Mr. Parker, on that day, was drinking. He admitted to it. The client, their witness, Miss Anderson, said that she saw Mr. Parker drinking 2 martinis. He admitted to having his radio on, to having his AC on. During his testimony, he said, "It hit me." Jackie is not an it. Jackie was a kid, is a kid with a bright future. But it's a lot dimmer since he collided with Mr. Parker. He didn't have a chance to move forward. Mr. Parker, his power and his money, didn't care who he affected on that day. He didn't care that he was driving a 4,000 pound vehicle. And what has happened, Your Honor? He's used his wealth, his influence, and his company has used their own to ensure that they get off scot-free. Miss Anderson was here, and she couldn't even tell the court honestly, until we had a fight with her, that she wasn't looking in the direction, and she listened and she heard a roar, and that she estimated because of some person, say 50 miles per hour, that Jackie Fulbright was going 50 miles per hour. Didn't even witness it. Ms. Parker, Ms. Anderson does not have echolocation, but she said that. Mr. Markham, another person who didn't testify today, said that he saw Jackie going 50 miles per hour. But he doesn't know if Jackie had his helmet on. What he did know, Your Honor, even though he was on the southernmost lane, looking forward, he could have seen Jackie. He couldn't tell if he had a helmet. What he could tell, Your Honor, is what color blouse and skirt Miss Anderson was wearing as she was walking past. He couldn't tell you if my client had on his helmet. Willie Brown's testimony never changed. Even when an insurance agent came to his home and asked him, tried to coerce him into saying that my client, my friend, Jackie Fulbright, wasn't wearing his helmet. Willie Brown stayed strong. He had on his helmet. He was going at the flow of traffic. He was responsible. Jackie's helmet was strapped, but because of the force of the hit of the Cadillac, it flew off. If you can go back to jury instruction number 6, looking at bias, one of the clearest examples of bias is their witness, expert witness, Dr. D.V. Rosenberg. Dr. Rosenberg has never seen Jackie. He never touched Jackie, never did anything with Jackie. And as you've seen from my co-counsel, when they asked him about the facts of his experience, they were unable to really produce anything from him. But the reason being, Your Honor, and the plaintiff's counsel knows, the plaintiff's bar knows, that the DV in Dr. D.V. Rosenberg's name stands for defense verdict. Because 20% of his practice comes from Americraft, companies like Americraft, and clients like Andrew Parker. That's not the job of a doctor. The job of a doctor is not to come to this court and provide junk science. The job of a doctor is to tell the truth. That's all we're looking for. My friend Jackie never had a chance to get out the way. Officer T.J. O'Brien stated that it was clear that Mr. Parker failed to yield the right of way. It was clear. Dr. D.V. Rosenberg, Dr. Defense verdict. His business comes from clients like that. Your Honor, that is ridiculous. We hope the court does not fall for that trick. What they're going to argue likely is speculative. That there was no proof that Jackie had these incredible talents and abilities, that he would have went to the NFL, that he could have gotten an NIL deal. Well, his coach, who was a coach at Nita College, who was a starting player at the University of Texas, a school that attempted to recruit Jackie, and a guy who was Jackie's high school coach, who saw him playing all the time, said that Jackie had a cool head, that Jackie had a great arm, 60 yards with precision, and that Jackie had a 4.740. During Tom Brady's NFL Combine, quarterback, Brady's speed was a 5.38. The average speed for a quarterback is a 4.8. And Jackie was faster than him. He was getting recruited from schools like University of Michigan, Drew Cash. The Wolverines have sent a number of quarterbacks to the NFL in recent years, including me. This is where you want to be groomed for a pro career. University of Texas. Heisman Trophy winner Ricky Williams just happened to be in the stands to see you lead your team to the NCAA championship. He called me right afterwards, couldn't stop talking about the last-minute drive, where you coolly, calmly led your team down the field for the winning score. Penn State, the school that Jackie Fulbright's father went to and then went to the NFL, states Let me know when you and your dad can come for a visit to talk about our program, scholarship availability, and your future here at Penn State. All of those things were taken when Mr. Parker, in the scope of employment of Americraft Industries, decided to get in his 2020 3,947-pound Cadillac sedan with 2 martinis in the system, with an NPR radio playing in the background, and on top of that, his AC on, and saying all he could have saw was the door. The reason being, Your Honor, is he didn't check. He violated the Michigan Vehicle Code. He didn't properly ascertain whether or not Jackie was actually going at that speed. And Your Honor, to go further, if we're looking at Jackie's radically changing condition, the epilepsy, the fact that he's in Needham Community College, system of these D1 schools, if we're looking at the coach streams that Mr. Harris said was clearly very unlikely, right, to what he was before this accident, the schools, NIL deals, like Shadar Sanders, who makes $4.1 million annually, Arch Manning, who makes $2.8 million annually, football families, just like Jackie was. That means for the 4 years he could have been in school, Jackie likely would have made $10.5 million. All that gone. All of that in the drain. And when you're looking at what he could have made with the NIL deals, Coach Harris saying clearly that Jackie could make $22 million on his first year as a quarterback for the NFL. He could have did it very easy. Jackie would have made altogether $32.5 million. But that, Your Honor, will not happen. And the last thing, and I gotta go. When you're looking at the case law, and you're evaluating the situation, I want you to look at 2 cases. Stephen V. Woodson Insurance Agency, LL, which states, an employer is vicariously liable for actions taken in furtherance of their business, even if those policies violate company policy. And they admit, his boss says that Mr. Parker was still and is still making the money. And the last case, Roger v. J.B. Hunt Transportation, which states, vicarious liability isn't just about employees or employers being better able to pay for the damages of their employees. It also ensures that businesses take steps to reduce harmful actions by their workers and fairly distribute risk that come with their operations. They didn't do any of this. They're still making money from Mr. Parker, and Jackie Fulbright has epilepsy, and his body betrays him. He doesn't know when the next attack's gonna hit. Close.